My name is Natasha Al Hariri, and I'm looking so much forward to the Food for Thought event on the 3rd of March. I will be guesting the event and talking about my work and what I do for a living and the work we do in Defunk, where we work with young people who have fled to Denmark. The current situation is unfortunately very relevant also to talk about, both regarding the Syrian situation, the situation for Afghanis, and the situation for our European neighbors who are being forced to flee at this moment. So please join us for food and talk and thoughts on activism and thoughts on the society we want to build together. Hope to see you.
He said, I mean, to tolerate someone is not a good thing. And it really made my mind, because I've used that word so much, and I was like, damn, how could I have asked for so little?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be tolerated. No.
Yeah.
I'm
glad he said that, because that's a good correction on my part.
Yes.
Why stop at being tolerated?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, no. Yeah. We need more.
100%. Yeah.
So I think that's actually that's a very important step.
Yeah.
Because we are barely being tolerated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think to even say no, I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be respected.
Yeah.
Acknowledged as a person, as a human being in this society. That's not too much to ask for.
Yeah.
And
because look at it, it's layers of rice, eggplant, tomato, and here I have here chicken. Yeah, why? Because it represents us. Because all of us as refugees and immigrants, we are layers of identities, like Yasmine said. And this is our identity. We can't live with one identity. And this is what I found out when I came to Denmark. I can it's attached from roots.
And you shouldn't be detached.
No, yes, so I insist to include everything in my identity.
We are so lucky you cooked for us.
As our world is becoming increasingly globalized, I think identity becomes a very pressing issue, and we have to embrace our identity with all the different nuances that entails. I mean, I grew up in Denmark, and I have a Danish mom, and I have Danish grandparents, but I also have a lot of other facets to my identity. And I do understand, I mean, for a long time, I would get sort of upset when people would say, oh, but you're totally Danish, that's a compliment. And others would say to me, but you're totally Egyptian. And I don't know why. For a long time, I couldn't understand why would that bother me, until I realized it's because when you look at me, you look at me through your eyes, through your lenses. Through many years, I couldn't understand why did that bother me, because when people say that, they mean it as a compliment, that you're good enough, you're one of us. You're not one of the others, you're one of us. And I think I realized why it bothered me is because I wanted them to understand that there were other sides to me besides being totally Danish or totally Egyptian. And why didn't they see these sides of me? That I came to realize it's because as a cross-cultural child, you tend to switch. You can switch from one to the other without really thinking about it. So depending on context, you are very Danish, and in other contexts, I can be totally Egyptian. to be the cultural interpreter, to bring cultures together, to be the bridge, and to bridge that gap when we don't understand each other. And I think that is one of our greatest strengths. One of the misfortunes of being a cross-cultural child is that you can fit in everywhere, but you never fit in. No, sorry, it's the other way. You can fit in everywhere, but you don't fit in anywhere. That you are part of it, but you're not completely part of it, and you're always a little bit on the outside looking in. And like you don't really totally fit in, despite that other people think you do, but you find yourself often being somehow observant, that you observe other people, you observe the culture, and you analyze the culture without really being a full member of that culture. And that can be a strength, but that can also be a weakness if you don't have that sense of belonging. There's a story, we need to have more nuances added to our discussion. When we discuss things, could we be a little bit more nuanced? Could we have more people to the table so we have as an intelligent discussion as possible? So I think for us to discuss human rights, we also need to be enlightened and we need to be informed. And I think that is a really big challenge, how media is not really well informed today. And that's why I decided to write for an online media called Point of View, for media, for mainstream media to be much more enlightened. And that is what I try to do, to enlighten the media, to give people the access to the other stories. There is discussion, and there are so many things people need to understand before we have a discussion about the Middle East. And I am actually honestly sick and tired of Arabs and Muslims being portrayed the way they are in the media. So that is why I, as a cross-cultural child, decided, okay, this is my job to bring it to the core, or to the fore, that to understand that there are so many nuances to this, and this is not about religion. All these conflicts we see, a lot of people think this is about religion. Oh, they're so goddamn religious in the Middle East, and this is all about Islam. Well, to tell you the truth, none of these fights or any of these conflicts have anything to do with religion. It's power. And power corrupts, and power will go to your head. And this is what is